Hi friends, I'm Helman. Thanks for being here today. I love to share ways to use things you already have lying around at home in new ways in your crafting. Today we're going to do that. I can't wait to share this with you. So here's what we're going to use for this technique today. I have one of my acrylic blocks. What have I put around it? Some rubber bands. I chose some rubber bands of different widths. You can try this with, I think trying it with all narrow ones would be really fun. I think trying it with a smaller block would be fun. But for all the examples I'm showing you today, I've used these rubber bands on this larger size block. So what you can do with this is just put those rubber bands around in different arrangements, different patterns. So for some of my examples that you'll see, I had the rubber bands laid across each other like this. So we got kind of an interesting pattern. For one, I had them all just straight. So I'm going to try an example. I'll show you how to do this. We'll leave the rubber bands right like this to try it. You are going to want a foam pad underneath when you're stamping for this. Because this is not perfectly level, you definitely need some cushion underneath for this to work and stamp on your paper. And then I have some scrap paper here just to protect my pierce mat. I am going to stamp onto this piece of peach pie cardstock. And I'm going to use two different colors. Of course, you can stick with one color and keep it simple. If you're doing more than one color, I encourage you to start with your lighter color first, and then you don't have to worry so much about getting your stamps perfectly clean. As long as you get the stamps, and by stamps I mean rubber bands, as long as you get them clean, it doesn't really matter what color you start with. So as you get a feel for this, you can flip it over, take a look, see if it's inked well, and then just start stamping. So doesn't look like much. Right now you're like, wow, I'm not impressed at all. I'm ready to go watch another video. Stick around, don't leave yet. We're going to do this a few times. Move down the paper. Now for this one, I'll keep my stamping fairly straight across, but for some of them you'll see I did all kinds of interesting patterns. So now I need to clean the rubber bands off. This is my Stampin' Chamois. It used to be nice and pretty and lavender, and it has been used to clean probably about 1,000,000 stamps, but it works great. I just have to add water to it each time I use it, and it works awesome to clean my stamps and the rubber bands. Something to keep in mind as you're doing this is ink could get in between those rubber bands. So you may want to keep an eye out for that to make sure you don't end up getting that onto another color of an ink pad. If you need to, you can just run that under the sink and then blot it dry on a towel. Okay, so now I used peach pie first. Now I am using some fresh freesia. I thought this would be a fun color combination. I'll do one more. And let's take a look at this to see how it came out. So just really fun patterns and designs you can create with these. Now let's look at my samples. I have 4 cards to show you that I created using this technique. And we started with a classic black and white. Just a fun black design on that white cardstock in the background. And then I created this greeting, the happy birthday. I created all these cards with this really cute stamp set called Happy Place. I love this big word happy with that beach scene. You'll see some other ways I used it here in just a second. So here's the first one. Let's look at the second one. This one I used Daffodil Delight cardstock. I stamped in Daffodil, Calypso Coral, and Poppy Parade for that background. So we have kind of some angles. I went a little bit different directions on this one. And then with the greeting over top. The next one, I love this bright green. I had created one like this a while back, and I loved how it turned out. So I wanted to recreate one, but love that lemon lime twist cardstock in the background with some greeny apple green and peacock ink stamped on top. Love how this turned out. The stamps in this, we have the big word happy with lots of different words to pair it with, but really like these cursive ones. Place, life, days, times, but thought this turned out really cute how I stamped it on top and then cut out this part by hand. Last but not least, isn't this one fun? So I stamped this with my Memento black ink and then I colored in the scene using my Blends alcohol markers. So I wanted to create a sunset scene there on the beach with the water at the bottom and then the sky kind of looking like sunset. So you can see for the rubber bands on this one, I kept them straight. And then after I stamped straight all the way across, I just added the ones at an angle on the corners. So you will have to try that out sometime and let me know how it goes. Such an easy technique, and we all have rubber bands lying around, right? So let's chat. We always chat at the end. Like, what am I going to chat about today? I know I had shared earlier in the year that I was trying out something completely new and different with my garden this year. So I thought I would report in on how that went. Shared with you I was doing a no-till garden system. Like I did not work up the soil in my garden this year. And the whole idea of this is you put down lots of some kind of mulch. It could be straw, it could be grass clippings, it could be actual mulch, and to cover all the soil to keep the weeds down. And then you just plant into that and don't have to worry about weeds. So here's how it went. One, I better mention, I did not follow the rules. There's a book called Raised Row Gardening. This is where I've seen it different places online, but I had gotten the book and read about it. I didn't follow all their rules. I didn't put my straw down thick enough. I knew it probably wasn't thick enough, but anyway, so I did have some weeds come up through the straw because I had not put down enough to block out all the light from the soil. And what else? I was supposed to put down compost in my planting rows where my plants would be several inches thick, and I didn't do that either. But I'm like, oh, it'll be fine. So because I did this, I had a much easier time keeping the garden weeded than normal. I had several times this summer that I barely touched the garden for like a month at a time. And normally it would just be full of weeds. And because I had put the straw down, it made it completely manageable. Uh, it helps so much. Do not plan on ever going back to the normal way of gardening after this. I do have to make some improvements though. One problem I had was there were these little tiny black bugs living in the straw. Took me a long time to figure this out, but when I planted in the spring, I had to replant several times because my plants were getting eaten by, I didn't realize like my seeds were coming up and then they were getting eaten. I thought they just weren't coming up at all because I wasn't checking every day. Anyway, I had these little black bugs attacking my plants. So, my plan for this coming year is just to have compost in the planting rows. I'll have straw or some kind of mulch in the walkways in between. And hopefully, if there are little bugs living in there, they'll at least be in the walkways and not all throughout where my plants are planted. But it has been amazing. I know it's going to help the soil health a ton. They talk about fungal networks in the soil and bacteria and like all these things that when we're working it up, we're destroying those things every time. I actually heard, does anyone know if this is true, that is it that tree roots can connect to each other, or is it, I feel like it was the like fungus networks in the soil connect to tree roots and then they can transport nutrients from like wherever. Somebody else can send nutrients over here to this tree if it needs it. Does anyone know if that's true? I don't really know. But anyway, I know it's going to help the soil health. And I just thought I would share that for anybody who gardens. Like, gardening can be a lot of work, right? And weeds are the absolute worst part. So this has been huge revolutionary change for me. It's kind of a lot of work to get started because you have to put down a lot of grass clippings or leaves or straw or whatever kind of mulch you're going to use the first year. But once you have it started, then you just have to keep adding a little bit each year to maintain that as it breaks down and gets added to the soil. So just thought I would share that. Hopefully it can help someone. Thanks so much for being here today. I appreciate you. I hope you can be back again next time when I'm here helping you to handmade with love.